it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy and ascension forecast for Sunday, March 31st to Saturday, April 6th. So last week, of course, we kicked off eclipse season with a bang with that full moon lunar eclipse in Libra energy. And of course, that popped off on the 25th. We've had major storylines pop off in the global stage of news that, of course, are aligning perfectly with my predictions of man-made scripted events in order to distract, in order to create an emotional reaction amongst the masses. And again, no surprise here, everybody's fallen for it. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, let's talk about boats and bridges and Diddy. Okay, we're not going too much into it because I honestly do not care to talk about it all, but take a good look at the headlines. Take a good look at what everybody's consumed with, what everybody's talking about. Needless to say, not only was that a huge distraction from some of the important topics going on in the world, but again, another emotional tactic to make sure that people are in a lower vibration, a lower frequency than, I'm going to say, some of the higher vibes that we're able to actually align with to prevent us from awakening, to prevent us from reaching new levels of vibrations and frequencies that, of course, would align us with the better of timelines. Again, people, I've been saying that I have not been very hopeful that we were going to get to where it is that we needed to be for this new moon total solar eclipse in Aries energy that is going to make or break our ability to align with the higher timelines. Not looking so good, not looking so hot. And of course, we still have a couple of weeks to go. This week, we will be shifting out of March and into April, which of course is going to bring a totally different vibration, a different frequency, a different life lesson. Of course, you can expect over the next couple of days the April energy forecast and all of the individual zodiac forecasts to accompany that. And what we have kicking off here on April 1st is Mercury going retrograde. I'm sure you're already feeling it. I'm sure you're already seeing the technology glitches. I'm sure you're feeling it in your brain. I know I am. And as if that wasn't enough, we're also watching Mercury go retrograde while we have the last quarter moon taking place in Cancer energy. So the last quarter moon of any lunar phase is about reflection. We're looking back on this last lunar cycle. We're taking a good look at the changes. We're taking a good look at all the information and details that have popped off since that new moon. And we are processing it, trying to discern what needs to stay, what needs to go. And in the midst of all that, trying to build a new emotional foundation for us to be launching off of. We're trying to feel safe. We're trying to feel secure in this ever-changing landscape. Of course, a very difficult thing to do. Many of us are overwhelmed with the information and details that, again, divinely or man-made, scripted in order to distract us. Now, I say divinely scripted because there is a certain element of alignment, of recalibration going on in the cosmos that, doesn't have man tainting it or pushing it in a certain direction. But at the same time, all of that is being kind of shadow casted by these man-made scripted events. So again, we're seeing very clearly where it is that you have to be in alignment. You have to be in tune with yourself. You have to trust your intuition. You have to use discernment. We will also see Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, finish her cycle through the zodiac wheel. She will be leaving Pisces energy and entering into Aries energy here on the 5th. And so this is definitely going to change the game for us. We are moving out of the reflection, releasing, purging, realigning, recalibrating stage with our heart space. And when Venus moves into Aries energy, we are going to get bold and brave and courageous in our affections, in our worth, and our value. We are bossing up. We are tapping into the warrior goddess energy. We are going to be a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more direct with figuring out what it is that our heart wants, needs, and desires. And we will not stop unless we are getting what we want. Now, that sounds a little bit selfish, but it's not. Again, Venus having ruled over the full moon lunar eclipse energy in Libra that we are currently in, she has been eclipsed in her heart space, meaning there's been a major change. And now when she moves into Aries energy, not only is she going to be able to clearly define within herself what needs to change in her physical realm, who needs to stay, who needs to go, but she's going to be able to communicate that, express that outwardly, clearly define what it is that she now needs to feel safe, secure, stable, happy, joyful, and enjoy life a little bit more. So that should be a positive change, hopefully for all of us, in the right direction. But of course, we're still in eclipse season. We are not in our power in the way that we would like to be. But nonetheless, Venus kind of entering into this new cycle is going to be a little bit of the pep in our step that we have been lacking, that we 100% need. And of course, we are building towards this new moon total solar eclipse taking place in Aries energy on the 8th. And I don't know about y'all, but I will be so glad when this thing comes and goes so that we can all stop talking about it. Man, the feed, even on, normal news feed, all they want to talk about is this damn solar eclipse. It's not that big of a deal in the respect in which they're trying to make it. It is not magical and mystical as they are trying to make it. We have total solar eclipses all the time. And for those of you, those keyboard warriors coming at me with your biblical script, your prophecies, please just stop. Whatever it is that you focus on, whatever it is that you believe, that is great for you. I'm happy for you. But at the end of the day, when all of this comes to pass and nothing really happens, and you understand that it was just a change in the energy, a just change in the consciousness, maybe next time we won't spend so much damn time talking about a good old regular yearly eclipse. Anywho, moving on. Couple of things that I want to talk about before I start ranting and raving. I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for liking, for commenting, for sharing, for dropping beautiful emojis in the comment section below. I want to thank those of you that have jumped over to Patreon, decided to support me over there. Even as a free member, you are able to access and preview all of the paid content. Now, for my paid subscribers over there, we did a deep dive into Vesta this week, continuing our asteroid series. I am hoping that those of you that are interested will jump over in time for April. Why? Well, because the March zodiac forecast that I put out for paid content will become free and accessible to everyone over on my Patreon. And hopefully if you take a listen and reflect back over the month that you just had, it will encourage you to align with downloading your April zodiac forecast, which is coming at you here over the next couple of days. I want to thank those of you that jumped into the new delivery system for that full moon guide, either on my website or on Patreon. I thank you so much for all the feedback. I definitely think it's a better delivery system. I think it's going to help us do a deep dive. And again, if you have no clue what I'm talking about, for the last 15 years, I've been writing a workbook for every moon event. And I decided to stop that. It was getting a little bit boring, a little bit redundant for me. And so I did change that delivery system, and hoping that using the, for instance, Aries season e-guide in cahoots with these now moon guide delivery videos, that this will paint a bigger, broader picture, the complexities of how this actually affects you in relation to your chart, and what it is that you can do to align with these energies and actually have these events work for you instead of against you. So thank you to everyone who has provided me that feedback. Okay, so let's jump into some Ascension symptoms. First of all, are we all still tired? I don't know. I think it's coming in bursts. Suddenly, in my inner realm, I'm a little bit manic, jumping all over the place, just want to take over the world, rapidly processing a whole bunch of different ideas. But my physical body is like, no, you need to sit here. You need to chill. A lot of that is, again, because the solar codes and the activation codes that we are receiving throughout this eclipse energy requires us to be a little bit more slow moving in our physical form. The realignment, the recalibration that we just went through, and then dipping into this new astrological calendar didn't really give us a whole lot of time to kind of act out those realignment points. And instead, what we're doing here now that we're in eclipse energy is we're just trying to take it all in. It feels very crazy and chaotic in our inner realm and in the energetic realm, but in our physical realms, everything just seems like it is molasses. Wintertime, trying to go uphill, just slow as F. Now, with that being said, it feels like there's a lot of soreness, a lot of rigidity in our joints. Again, I would say that has a lot to do with just trying to reset our systems in a lot of the way. I feel like if you've had previous injuries, or I'm going to say illnesses, even to a certain extent, that some of those symptoms are coming back. Not necessarily like putting you in a situation where if you broke your arm when you were 8, that you're going to break your arm again, but you can kind of feel the tension in your body where you may have stubbed your toe, or you may have twisted your ankle, or whatever the case may be. It just feels like the aches and pains are being a little bit more highlighted. And I would say that is the energy coursing through our bodies, just illuminating for us where it is that some repairment, some regeneration energy needs to be concentrated at those particular pain points. Now, if you are into energy work, if you're into energy healing, you should be able to kind of remedy these particular painful ailments within yourself. If you're not familiar with that, you can just move into a meditative state. You can ask your higher self or your guides or whoever it is that you speak to kind of turn the volume down on the aches and pains to a manageable type of energy. You will feel a little bit of relief there. But again, all of this is the power of your mind. So if you can even visualize your physical body, especially seeing the emphasis of where some of the aches and pains are concentrated for you, and you use your mind to kind of imagine that you are healing yourself, and that, this beautiful energy is just coming out of nowheres and infiltrating your body and putting you back into a state of repairment, you will just be amazed at how much power your mind actually has to heal your physical form. It is time for us to boss up into our creator force energy, and being able to heal certain parts of your physical ailments is part and parcel of those particular superpowers. And when I say superpowers, I'm not talking in a mystical, foo-foo type of sense. We are all superhuman beings. We have powers and capabilities that many of us are not even aware of. And as we are in this eclipse energy, building towards this new moon total solar eclipse in Aries energy that will be activating not only our new identity, but some of our superpowers, our capabilities within us, we are really needing to see in our own physical form where it is that we have some aches and pains, and put us in a situation to actually experiment with our mind's power. I'm really going to encourage you to do what you have to do to test the capabilities of your mind. Thus is what this whole earth plane is designed to do, to see how powerful you are over your mental plane and over your emotions. So with some of the tension that we are feeling in our physical body, there's a lot of tingling going on. It may feel like you've been sitting on your feet, like your, feet are asleep. However, it's a different kind of tingling sensation that I don't know that I'm going to be able to describe. That's the best way that I can kind of describe it at this point, is it feels like your limbs are asleep, but it's not quite to that, I'm going to say, level. It just feels like there is an energy flowing through your body that is creating some weird sensations that could be directly related to feeling like your limbs are asleep. But this is the wave of energy that I've been talking about, especially since we've been going through our recalibration, our realignment energy. It's like a wave of warmth or a wave of coldness just takes over your physical body. Could be the whole body system, could be certain areas of your body. And because we're still very much under the influence of this full moon lunar eclipse in Libra energy, it could be one side, one part of your body over the other. Maybe it's just happening on the front part of your body. Maybe it's just happening on your back. Maybe it's left versus right. All of this information is very indicative of where it is that your body is realigning, where it is that some energy work is needed in your physical form in order to clear out the energetic meridians that carry the electrical charge through your physical form, clearing out all of your energy centers, your chakra system. And so this is a very interesting time to actually feel the sensations moving through your physical form, and in your mental plane, doing what it is that you can do to concentrate your energy, your focus on really relieving a lot of the physical, let's call it sensations that are becoming a little bit overwhelming, a little bit too much. A lot of the pain, a lot of the discomfort is being felt in our lower backs, down our legs. And a lot of that, again, is because the root chakra sitting at the very, very bottom of our spines, in our butts, if you will, our tailbones, that's where the programming, the survival programming of our egoic avatar is stored. And because we are going through this purging period of trying to override our programming and conditioning, this is where the energy is getting blocked in our lower back. It is really making a lot of, I'm going to say, rigidity in our hips, in our pelvic area, going down into our thighs, especially when the moon is in Sag, such as it is now. That rules over the thighs. You could be having Charlie horses, taking it down to the knees. The knees are popping and cracking. We store fear in our knees. So there's a lot of releasing and realigning going on in that. Our calves, you could be having spasms or like shin splints. And taking it all the way down to the ankles and the feet, we are, again, trying to get in alignment in our inner realm for the steps forward that we are looking to take, but our physical bodies just don't feel strong enough, don't feel well equipped, well prepared right now to actually take that first initial step forward. Again, we have to get through eclipse season, get returned back to the normal energetic programming before we're going to be in full alignment to actually take action and move in a new direction. So because Mercury is going retrograde, of course, we are going to have to deal with, again, the typical Mercury retrograde things, which means that the old could come knocking back on your door. Now, this could be old people, could be old memories, it could be old ideas, old topics, old themes that you were done with. Let me put it to you this way, though. I don't think things are going to slow down to the normal, let's call it, pace that Mercury retrograde normally takes us in. Reason being, we're retrograding in Aries energy. It's a fire sign. So I kind of feel, because Mercury going retrograde in Aries is kind of the stepping back, the observing, the revision of this new identity, this new self, I think whatever is coming back from the past, so to speak, is testing whether or not this new identity, this new version of self is strong enough, anchored into this present moment, to not revert back to the old version of self, the old identity, the old ways of thinking, the old ways of reacting, the old ways of being. This is a test, as retrogrades normally are. And because of that, not only are we going to have some serious flashbacks, not only are we going to see certain aspects from the past come back to the present moment and see where it is that we're actually at, but I think at this point, it is going to be a rapid fire process in our mental plane to examine certain ideas that we had, certain dialogues in our narratives, certain visions, certain perspectives that we've had, and just rewrite them in the moment and allow that fire energy from Aries to burn through the old, to disintegrate it, to renew, to rejuvenate the new, and have us kind of launch in a new path, in a new direction in our mental plane. So again, this is about becoming aligned so that when we exit eclipse season and we return to normal energetic programming, that our mind is already going to be fine-tuned and ready to go to actually take action upon some of the things that, of course, we will be percolating upon as the eclipse season kind of unfolds and throws some wild card energies our way. But we can expect the spaciness, the sleepiness, the dizziness, the pressure in our headspace. Now, again, maybe one side over the other because we are still under this Libra energy, this Libra influence, but nonetheless, things are going to get a little bit weird in our headspace. Accompanying that, I feel like there is going to be a lot more congestion in our headspace. Our sinuses definitely going to take a hit because of that. Our ears may be clicking and clogging and feeling muffled. And again, maybe just one over the other. Again, this is the pressure that needs to be amplified in the headspace to really apply that tension for us to figure things out. For us to really examine things from a different set of eyes, for us to realize where it is that we need to breathe new life into old ideas, where we need to examine the old. Because again, if you've been listening to me for any amount of time, you would know that we are in a particular time period right now where the answers to the questions that we have about our present day moment and our future are found in the past. And so this is the whole back to the future vibe that we've been kind of exploring for the last little bit. And I would suspect that while Mercury is retrograde this time around, especially, kicking off midway, that halfway point in eclipse season, that this is really going to reveal a lot of the information, a lot of the details that we've been banging our head against a wall trying to kind of pluck out of our mind's eye that we haven't been able to fully understand or articulate at this particular point in time. So we're definitely going to have some head pressure, some spaciness, some dizziness, really putting us in a semi-confusing state at times in order for us to see things from a different set of eyes and therefore prepare us for the clarity that comes when we step back and we start questioning some of the thoughts, ideas, inner dialogues, narratives, and memories that, of course, are going to come crashing back. Because of the head pressure, there is going to be a situation where there is a lot of weight on our shoulders and in our neck. You may feel like you need to crack your neck. You may feel like you need to constantly be exercising your shoulders, putting them in a rotation to kind of get that limberness back in your arm space. I know myself, I've been having shooting pains and a lot of tension in my elbows and my wrists. And again, this is because the palm chakras are coming online. We are about to utilize this new creative force energy power. And because we are just trying to get, again, those meridians alive and well and functioning full speed in our physical form to channel this kind of energy throughout our physical body, there are some blockages there. There is some restlessness, there is some tension building up, and we really have to make sure that we are exercising, that we're dancing, that we're keeping our physical body in the most flexible state that we could possibly find it in, as uncomfortable as it may be. Because again, those aches and pains, that tension in our physical body doesn't feel good. And many of us want to kind of resist pushing our physical bodies into a state of discomfort in order to work out those kinks. But that's exactly how you have to do it. And so there is this tension taking place on our shoulders. And again, I'm going to ask you, when you do find that the weight of the world is weighing very heavily on your shoulders, I'm going to ask you to unpack it, see what it is that you're carrying that actually belongs to you and what it is that actually belongs to other people. And for anyone that's carrying an extra weight for other people, emotional baggage that does not belong to you, I'm going to invite you to put that down. That's not yours to carry anymore. The full moon lunar eclipse in Libra should have taught you that. And this is going to be a prime time, a prime example for you to put into action the energy that this particular eclipse event is meant to teach you, which is to mind your own business, to carry your own weight, to understand where it is that you are complicating your life and applying more pressure to yourself by being too concerned about everybody else's lives that you don't have control over, and not concerned enough about carrying your own weight, unpacking your own baggage, being accountable and responsible for your own emotions, your own type of path in life. So again, this is about the purging, the letting go, the release of the fragmented energies that we've been carrying too heavily on our heart space, on our shoulders, that do not belong to us. I feel like I need to talk about this lung thing going on. First of all, may I remind you that the lungs, yes, there's two of them, which means that Libran energy going to emphasize where we need to really work on our breathing. Now, Venus being in Pisces energy, I want you to just kind of visualize, if you will, again, Pisces energy being the force, the vastness of the ocean. Venus out there, swimming along, doing her thing. She's losing herself in imaginary land. She's going through a healing process, a transformative process where her heart space is concerned. But there's a lot of unpacking. There's a lot of purging to do. And anytime we talk about water, we tend to think of, crying and those types of emotions. Definitely a purge going on, I would say. But in the form of our lungs, the pressure from the ocean is really kind of putting a lot of tension on our heart space, on our chest space, if you will. And not saying that you have a cold or that you have pneumonia or anything like that, but there's this little tiny micro rattle or wheeze, if you will, in your lungs, one over the other or vice versa, or whatever the case may be. You may actually have a coughing fit. You may actually hack up some form of phlegm, some form of congestion in your lung space. Again, this is the purge. This is the release that we need to go through in order to lighten the load, lighten the weight on our heart space. Again, purging those particular old values, those old priorities, that old affection, that old connection, and essentially clearing out those lungs for a new fresh breath of air, which we will receive when Venus moves into this Aries energy. The Aries energy, just like it kind of dried us up emotionally after being in Pisces season, once Venus moves into this Aries energy, we will essentially see the congestion, the phlegm, the coughing, the wheezing dry up in the lung space as well. We will be entering into a brand new chapter in that Aries energy. That fire energy dries things up. It restores the passion, the excitement, the desire that we now want to fully express, declare, and request from the people, from the world around us. And this is why tapping into the boldness, the bravery of this Aries energy is going to put us in a totally different demeanor to figure out who and what makes us happy and who and what we want more of. And so that is going to be a wild change of energies, especially popping off, in the midst of this beautiful eclipse season. So the congestion is definitely going to be a thing, but we are also purging and releasing while we're sleeping. I don't know if y'all found yourself in a sweaty ass cocoon at night. Again, dreamscape, wildly changing. Awake and sleep patterns, wildly changing. But the purge, the releasing is coming through the form of sweat. Now, it is not a pleasant thing to be all sweaty, all gooey in your, perfect little cocoon at night. However, this is part of the process. We, when we are in a sleep state, are more open to the recalibration energies that are going on at this particular point in time because of eclipse season. This is a level up. This is an upgrade. This is continuing the realignment, the recalibration that began back in Pisces season that did, for a certain point, become anchored in when we moved into Aries season. But again, we moved right into eclipse season. So we don't necessarily have the power, have the control to be in alignment, to be our full, complete self until after the eclipse has come and gone, has thrown those monkey wrenches at us, thrown those wild card events at us, put us in a situation to align with our new creative force, energy, and power. And therefore, that full alignment, the full recalibration will come into full form, and we will be able to solidify in that and stabilize in that once we move into Taurus season. But the nighttime sweats are a thing, and it's accompanying, again, some cryptic ass dream content. Now, it is very different, I would say, in my own personal experience, from the dream content that we were having back in Pisces energy. It's a little bit different. Can't even explain to you how it's different. It just is. And it feels very much, again, like the sleep state that we enter into is different as well in order for these upgraded energies to actually be able to be downloaded and to take hold. I want to talk about itchy spots for a second. So we've been talking about how itchiness is a sign of healing. It's a sign of repairment. It's a sign of growth. It's a sign of evolving. But the itchy patches, the itchy spots are going to be ones that can't be scratched. Now, it could be in between your toes. It could be in your inner ear. It could be in the back of your throat. You're going to want to try to itch it and scratch it. It's just not going to happen. Now, again, where you find these itchy spots are very indicative of where it is in your meridian channels that certain energy blockages are kind of being beat down, broken up in order to be resolved and repaired so that the energy can flow very gracefully, very fluidly throughout your physical body system. However, the itchy spots are just going to be annoying as F because you can't physically relieve it. So again, I'm going to invite you to move into your mental plane and really test your ability to focus on certain areas of your body, align with the higher energies of the cosmos, request for a little bit of help from the higher ups in order to resolve a lot of your discomfort, a lot of your physical ailments. This is time for us to walk the walk and talk the talk. May I remind you that we are in the year of 8. That is what the lesson is here in order for us to gain power and control over our mental plane, over our emotions, and therefore over our physical realms. And so again, we are going to always find ourselves in testing periods to see how strong our mental plane is. And so if you are finding that, first of all, you're having a hard time focusing, a hard time concentrating in a meditative state, then you have a little bit more work to do. If you are finding that you are falling victim to these man-made scripted distractions, then again, you have a little bit of more work to do. And if you have the ability to actually use your intuition and use discernment and understand what is real and what is not, then that is a very good sign that you're strengthening your mind muscle and putting it into a meditative state and very, very focused on alleviating certain pressures, certain tensions in your physical form, and actually feeling that relief is going to be a great sign that you've been doing the work, that you're successful in doing the work, and that you have to continue to test your mental abilities to heal thyself. The more that you get to know yourself, the more you're able to heal thyself. And this is what this whole relationship dynamic is all about. So guys, probably one of my shorter Ascension forecasts. I do apologize. I am not feeling the greatest here with this particular energy. I tried to highlight the most important things that I feel that we should be concentrated on. But at this particular point in time, rest and recovery are the number one things that we should be doing at any point in time. Please do not be forcing your physical body to do things that your higher self, your intuition, your emotional state, or even your physical form are asking you not to do. We have to become a little bit more in tune, in touch with our physical forms and understand where it is that, yeah, sometimes you do need to push yourself, especially if you're achy and a little bit painy. You got to get up and move your physical body, make sure that the energy is actually moving through your physical form, as comfortable as that may be. But at the same time, know your limits. Know your role, know when it is to push and when it is that you need to rest. And I'm going to take my advice here in this moment, and I am going to peace out and leave you with all of this information to refer to as we move through the course of this week. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sending you nothing but love, and we'll talk to you soon.